We have a lot more racing to come here in Memphis, but when the action does end, stay tuned to TNN, because immediately after our coverage here of the NHRA Chief Auto Parts Mid-South Nationals, it's NHRA Today, the weekly magazine show of the sport of championship drag racing. There's the man himself, Gene Snow, test firing that engine in the pit. Boy, what a job this crew has done. This has become rather commonplace, whether you have engine damage or not, just to make sure that there's no leaks. That has cost more drivers races on the starting line than anything else. If they see any fluid coming out of a motor, they will shut you off. And look at them inspect that power plant. All right, it's time for round number 2 of Pro Stock. It'll be the man from Pennsylvania, Joe Lapone Jr., up against the only Dodge-powered automobile in all of Pro Stock racing, and that is Darrell Alderman. Don Garlitz, how do you see the Pro Stock season so far this year?
This far into the season, the big news is that the driver of this car, Bob Glidden, is not the big news. But race fans, don't let that confuse you. Bob Glidden hardly ever starts a season real strong, but he finishes strong, so just watch out. But what this has done is created a lot of interest among the other competitors. People like Ekman, Morgan, Johnson, they're running strong, better than they've ever run. And this is made for real good, tight racing, and the fans just love it.
And just when we were starting to count the Dodge out, Darrell Alderman from Fairfield, Illinois, came in here and qualified number 1 at 7:25. Joe Lapone Jr., Berwyn, Pennsylvania. Lapone is hot and cold. He'll be the first to tell you that. He'll be right in the semifinals in the final round and then go 3 races and just can't do anything right.
Well, this, of course, is a sport of pure timing, and it's all decided generally here right at the starting line. A half a car length lead at the other end is usually a big one, an overwhelming victory, Steve.
Absolutely. It is Alderman away first. He won that war up the starting line. And he'll win it at the finish line as well. A 7:33 to a 7:35. Alderman left first and got there first. That's what you need to be successful in Pro Stock racing. Up now, well, here's the man Don Garlitz was talking about, Bob Glidden, and he is genuinely concerned, Brock Yates, he may have lost a little of his edge.
Well, it's fantastic that this man has dominated, won more NHRA championship events, I think, than anybody else, and generally is almost a shoe-in for victory.
You know, I don't think he's lost so much of his edge as the other guys have caught up with him. They've been watching him closely, and he's really having to drive to win these races these days.
And this is his arch rival, Warren Johnson, the Oldsmobile out of Duluth, Georgia. Glidden loves to race Johnson. Well, doesn't love to race him. He loves to beat him if he possibly can. Those two, well, they're just not best pals.
No, they're not. They've been banging heads for years, and one will win for a while. But, of course, over the years, Glidden has had all the best of it.
3 stage lights are on. They very carefully stage bring the RPMs up tremendously high and try to leave when they see the flash of the yellow light. A brilliant start. Here we see Glidden working that let-go 4-speed transmission. Where's Warren Johnson? We don't see him. Bob didn't see him because Glidden was there first. Identical 7.33 elapsed times, but Glidden humbled Johnson right off the starting line.
Well, these races are won and lost right at the starting line, as the boys said earlier, because the cars are sometimes separated only by a couple of thousandths of a second. Hard to believe. Different motors, different cars, different drivers, and the cars would be so close. Look at the graphics. The first numbers is what won the race. The .445 reaction time beats a .466.
Well, that's the kind of race you like to have against your favorite opponent. A pair of 33s, and you won it with driving.
Well, we won it. I don't know we won it with driving, Steve. We've been really struggling. We finally made some changes and got the miss out of the car, but you're right. I sure do like to beat that guy.
How did you find the miss?
Well, we've changed everything. We've only changed probably 35 different things, so I wouldn't want to guess what it was.
At least you found it.
Thanks.
Well, let's not forget that guys like Glidden and Johnson have developed these engines to produce over 1,000 horsepower. Still carbureted pushrod motors, 500 cubic inches, an awesome amount of performance out of them, Steve.
Especially considering, Brock, they do that with 114 octane racing gasoline. There's no nitro, no superchargers, no nitrous oxide. Here is Ricky Smith. He's yet to win his first NHRA National Championship event, but he has made it to the final round this year, the car out of King, North Carolina. And he's up against a guy who's having his best season ever. Jerry Ekman, the Pontiac from Ventura, California, is owned by Bill Orndorff. They won the Winter Nationals and the Winston Invitational this year. They've made some sizable deposits to their racing bank account.
Well, once again, Don Garlett's going to be decided probably within the first couple of feet after the light goes green.
I hate to say it, Brock, but in this particular class, it's he who snoozes loses. It's almost true every time.
Well, it was Smith off the mark first, but Jerry Ekman has the raw power at the big end. 730 for Jerry to a losing 741, 188 miles per hour, the speed for the yellow Pontiac. Boy, here is just a beautiful automobile.
That's the Oldsmobile of Frank Iaconio out of New Jersey. He'll go against a man who's also on a hot streak, Larry Morgan from Ohio, Steve Evans.
Larry Morgan won the last race in the circuit, the Southern Nationals in Atlanta, Georgia. He's from Newark, Ohio, and he clocked the quickest elapsed time of Pro Stock eliminations in round one. He's up against, as you said, Frank Iaconio. Iaconio beat the national record holder in round number one, Mark Towing.
Oh, this is going to be once again head-to-head racing, absolute classic kind of drag racing. This is the stuff that really formed the basis of the sport way back when it started.
And it's Larry Morgan away first. Here comes Iaconio. Oh, Morgan, when you win by a clean car length in this sport, that's like a mile in some. A 729 wins it for Morgan to a losing 734 for Frank Iaconio. Larry Morgan is usually not first off the mark. He's got such power in that Bob Pinella-owned automobile that he plays it very conservatively. But he saw Iaconio perform in round one, Don Garlett, and he knew, cut him no slack.
I'll tell you, when you leave the mark first in this sport of pro stock racing, and you got more power from beginning to end, 729, 189 miles an hour, you're hard to beat.
So that sets up the pairings in the Pro Stock semifinals. California Jerry Ekman versus the Buckeye Larry Morgan, with Morgan enjoying lane choice. Glidden and Alderman. Alderman in the Dodge, and surprisingly enough, Alderman has the lane choice against a man who says he's still struggling.
Back in the top fuel pits, here's the Joe Amato operation. Crew Chief Tim Richards has elected not to test fire the motor, as we saw Gene Snow do. We don't know if that's lack of time or confidence on their part.
It could be lack of time, because there's Gene Snow. He's pulling into the lanes. He's ready. And you know Joe Amato heard Snow's engine running. And they always like to look for leaks. You never know about these fuel motors.